welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you a review on the new Too Faced Peanut Butter and Honey palette. I also wanted to compare it to the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. So if you guys want to hear my thoughts on this palette and how it compares to this one, then just keep on watching. So the Peanut Butter and Honey palette was just released to Ulta and Too Faced for $36. It's 0.39 ounces. It's the same size, the same amount of shadows. It has 9 shadows just like the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. I was really excited about this palette because I love the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette, but this one has more purple shades, has those peanut butter colors, but it also has like some pops of colors in there too. And I really just use the gold and bronze and peanut butter colors. I don't really use the jelly shades. So I was really looking forward to getting the Peanut Butter and Honey palette because I was thinking there was going to be some gold, some more honey-like coppery light shades. But really it's just a lot of peanut butter and then a yellow matte shade in there. So it's the same size. It's a very similar layout as the Peanut Butter and Jelly. But there's definitely a lot more colors in the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. You guys can see there's actually more matte shades in the Peanut Butter and Honey palette compared to the Peanut Butter and Jelly. So in the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette, you're getting 4 matte shades and 5 shimmer shades. Basically, this one is pretty matte. It has like a few sparkles in there, but it's basically matte. And that's a good like all over color or like a good starter transition shade. This is a good brow bone color. It's pretty light, but it's good on the brow bone or all over, and you can mix it with this one. And then you get those 2 transition shades, Peanut Butter, which is one of my favorite shades from Too Faced, and Nuts About You, which is a bit deeper to like make any look bolder. Then you also get a really good variety of shimmer shades. You have this gold that I love, Bananas. It's one of my favorite shades. And then I also love Peanut Brittle, which is like this coppery warm color, and then you get those purple shades to add like a pop of color. And then in the Peanut Butter and Honey palette, you're getting less of a range of colors. So you do have these lighter shades on the side. They're all very similar to each other. They're different tones, but the pigmentation, the range of them is pretty similar. They're very like fair shades basically. And then the deeper shades don't even go that deep. The darkest colors you're gonna get is Going Nuts, which is like this purpley brown color, and it's also not something that's very pigmented. And then Feeling Nutty, which is actually probably my favorite shade other than Peanut Butter, which is just like a nice transition shade that has some more of a yellowy tone to it. And then also Bee's Knees is a darker shade, but it's not even the most exciting shade. It's like this brick color, but it doesn't have a pop to it. It doesn't have a shimmer. Like I'll swatch it compared to, let me get even a little bit more pigmentation. So this is Bee's Knees, and I'm going to swatch that compared to Peanut Brittle from the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. And you guys will see these are similar colors, but the pigmentation is so different. So on top is Peanut Brittle, and then Bee's Knees is underneath it. And I just love how this one has such a shimmer and a copper tone to it, and it has like a lot of dimension to it. And then Bee's Knees is just like a reddish brown that you can't really do too much with. And before I get into the rest of the swatches, I'll point out one more shade that is kind of similar in both palettes, and that's Going Nuts and then the shade Jammin'. So this is like that purpley brown shade I was talking about. And then Jammin' has some more purple to it, but it doesn't really make sense for there to be purple in Peanut Butter and Honey to me. But this one has like some more richness to it. So they are pretty similar, but the Going Nuts from the Peanut Butter and Honey has more of a brown tone. And then obviously it'd be more purple in the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. So those are really the only similarities in both palettes. And then you do get the shade Peanut Butter, which is the same from both. So other than those 2 shade similarities in both palettes, and then Peanut Butter being a repeat shade, all of the other shades are pretty different in both of the palettes. You do get some lighter tones, but they are very different to me. This one is just like a lot more orangey and reddish, and this one is also really warm, but it has some pinks in there. It has that yellow shade, and it's just a bit more neutral compared to the like warmth of this palette. And also this is a lot more subtle in general, so I definitely prefer the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. But I'm going to go ahead and swatch all the shades in here and then compare them to the other shades in the palette so you guys can see like up close what the shade differences and similarities are. So I'm going to start with all the lighter colors, and I'm going to start off with Queen Bee, which is like this really light gray color. It's almost like a gray-white shade. Then the next light shade is called Be Sweet, which has like a pinky tone. This is the one that I wish was a shimmer shade. And then the next one is called Cream Honey, and that's actually what it sounds like and looks like. I actually like this as a all over base color. And so you guys can see those so far are super, super light. Then in the next row we have Peanut Butter, which is my favorite shade in the palette, and it's what I have already in the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette and the Semi-Sweet palette too. And then Honey Brittle, which is, a lot of it is on my eyelid right now. It's more of a pinky matte shade. That's a color that's really hard to build up. And then Honey Buns, also in my inner corners, is this matte yellow shade. And I really like the concept of this color being in here. I just think it needs to be way more pigmented than this for it to really show up, especially like on a lot of skin tones. Then the shade I swatched, Going Nuts, which is that purpley brown shade. And this is a kind of a shimmer shade. It's more of a satin color. It doesn't have like true shimmer to it. Bee's Knees is kind of the same case. It's like a satin color and has some glitter chunks in it, but it doesn't show up shimmery or glittery. It's basically like matte with some glitter chunks in it, basically. And then lastly, Feeling Nutty is another good shade. It's a transition shade. I have it like in my crease right now. Alright, so here are all the colors in the palette, and I know I'm not a professional swatcher. They don't look very amazing, but the pigmentation and the color selection doesn't help with that either. So you guys can see they are basically very pastel, very light, very sheer, and you're not getting a big range of colors. The lightest shade is basically white, and then the darkest shade is like a medium brown. You're not getting a lot of variation beyond that. So you're getting a lot of very similar tones. It's basically like a basics palette. A lot of matte shades. The shimmer shades don't show up. These are the shimmer shades if you can't tell. They basically look matte and they have a couple of glitter chunks in them. So I'm going to go ahead and actually live swatch the Peanut Butter and Jelly if I could do that real fast so I can show you guys a quick comparison. So I'm going to start off with the white shade, which is basically white, and that's called Extra Creamy. Then Bananas, which is one of my favorites in here, is a goldish shade. Just look how beautifully pigmented and smooth that shade is. Then Spread the Love, which is like an orangey matte shade that basically blends into my skin. Then we have Peanut Butter, which is the one repeat shade, and that's like smooth and creamy in both palettes. And then Peanut Brittle, which is another favorite, which is so gorgeous, like as a lid color, as a, not brow bone, lower lash line. And then Jelly is this purple color. It's like a good pop of color compared to anything else in that palette. Then Peanut Butter Cup is like a warm shimmery brown, and this one is a little bit less pigmented compared to like this shade. And then Jammin' is that like darker purple that has some shimmer to it. And then lastly, Nuts About You is like an orange, a straight orangey brick color. That's a good transition shade too. So you guys can see like you're getting such a better variety of colors. There we go. A better variety of colors with the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. You're getting just a lot more shade, like a bigger shade range. You get this white all the way to like this deeper brick color, some shimmers, a darker purple. You're getting a lot more variety with the Peanut Butter and Jelly compared to the Peanut Butter and Honey in my opinion. Alright, so you guys can probably tell that without a doubt I would recommend the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. This palette, so much more pigmented than this one. I just really love the Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. I don't really like the purples in there, and that's why I was so hopeful about the Peanut Butter and Honey, because I'm like, give me all those peanut butter shades and also throw in some golds or a champagne or something that's more honey-like. And then with the Peanut Butter and Honey palette, the shade range is very limited to me from the lightest shade to the darkest shade, because even the darker shades swatch pretty like medium tone. There's nothing too dark. There's nothing that's incredibly metallic or shimmery. There's really no like good shimmer shade. And some of these are fairly satin, but nothing really like pops out to me. Nothing that I really want to put like on my lid or my inner corner or anything. So I am wearing the majority of this palette today. I'm wearing all like 6 of these shades. I'm wearing Honey Brittle and Honey Buns on my lid, and then these kind of 3 as my transition shade. And it was really a struggle to get Honey Brittle and Honey Bun to show up on my lid. If I went in with like a white base beforehand, it would have popped out a lot more. But I don't like to work that hard for my eyeshadows to just end up looking, you know, average. So there was nothing really special to me about this palette. And honestly, the look that I have right now is the only one that I would really wear with this palette. I've tried it a couple different ways. I've tried it with bee's knees all over the lid. It just made it look like I had really red eyes and it just looked bad. So this would be the only look that I create, and it's also something like I wish it was more pigmented and shimmery, and I can basically get all these other colors in this palette or a bunch of other palettes. So I'll actually be returning this palette because I just think it's very mediocre. The quality isn't awful, but none of the shades really speak out to me, and I saw them online and I was just hoping for more when I got them. So I definitely do not like that palette very much. It's not enough of a palette for me. Definitely prefer this one so much more. It just made me like fall in love with this one all over again. So I'll definitely be wearing this one a lot more throughout the spring. Maybe I'll do an Instagram eye tutorial with it. And it goes in and out of stock, but right now it is available at Ulta. I think it's sold out at the Too Faced site, but it's available at Ulta. And this one is available at Too Faced and Ulta. And that's everything for this video, guys. Definitely let me know what you guys think about both of these. Do you like these lighter tones? Let me know in the comments down below. Or do you prefer the peanut butter and jelly palette? If you have the peanut butter and honey and you love it, definitely let me know that as well, because I really want to know if people do love this palette, because I've heard like kind of like average reviews, if not negative reviews about it. And I was so excited about it. So let me know that in the comments. And if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.